I love the names on this team. They have Sixto Sanchez, and they have my favorite name probably in baseball right now, Jazz Chisholm.
Showing emotion in baseball is terrible and should never be in the game.
It's weird how the dynamic works between sports.
But to win a championship, not only do you need great players on the court, but you need good chemistry, which takes time to develop.
Justin Fields is a all-time talent.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians.
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a three ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
We can make jokes about you not being in Super Bowl for 20-something years, but...
What's up, everyone? This is Justin Goldman from the Goalie Guild and Lift the Mask, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. And you know, Austin, never say never. I thought we would never get back together, but we are back together. And the man that I thought was trouble, well, that's Zeke. But the man that came up with this great idea, which it is truly a great idea. I just don't like talking about it because, I've been anti-Zeke. Austin.
What a big around between the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke leaves, goes to the Patriots, and wins as many playoff games as the Cowboys did. Even though the Patriots didn't make the playoffs, the Cowboys did. The Cowboys obviously lost in their first game against the Packers. So it's – how do you feel?
I thought it was happening. Once it started gaining steam, I'm like, dang it. It's just, is the Cowboys running back room bad? Yes. Does Zeke make it better? I can see an argument for it. But I just would rather go with a younger running back. Like, I would have been fine with Rico Dowdle being the lead guy. I think they would have done by committee. I still believe in Deuce Vaughn. I don't think Deuce Vaughn can be a all-round running back. Like, I don't think he can be the number one. I think he could be a nice complement and be used well by a offensive mind. But overall, it's a one-year deal. The Cowboys this season to me are, once they brought back Mike McCarthy, I knew they weren't going to take it seriously. They just want it they just want to stay with the same. Jerry should have, if you wanted to compete for a championship, which I think all teams should do, especially if you're in the Cowboy spot and you get embarrassed for the playoff win or playoff loss. Yeah, I blocked that game out. Then you need to make a change because we've done this with Mike McCarthy. I was a fan of Mike McCarthy, but to me, his time ended. And when you have Bill Belichick, you have Mike Vrabel, all available, I would have gone after them and be like, bye-bye, Mike McCarthy. You got 1 year left of Dak. Dak's probably gone. So, yeah. So not really fun right now. I'm just hoping, Stars go to October and then, Rangers go to October. Stars go far. Mavs go far. And then I can just ignore the Cowboys. I'll still watch the games, but it's just like, I know what to expect. Like, they're not going to be, there's nothing this team can show me to believe in them with going far in the playoffs.
So. Yeah, it's interesting. What's funny to me is that he did sign a 1 year, $3 million contract with $2 million guaranteed, but he still has a little bit over $6 million in dead cap that he will be paid by the Cowboys anyway. So it's really a $9 million deal that he's getting paid this season. Kevin, this is one of the bigger questions I wanted to ask. I have two of them. What would be a success just for Zeke, not the Cowboys, but for Zeke? What would this season have to be for him to have a successful year to you?
I'm trying to look at his stats because did you see? I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about his yardage and how one reporter said he finished the season well, which is just basically his agent giving the reporter breaking the news what to type, because he, I believe, averaged where is it? There's a yards per game. I'm trying to see his yards.
Yards per attempt, is that what you're looking for?
Yes.
He was at 3.5 last year, which isn't great, but I'd also argue that the Patriots O-line and their offense did not necessarily help him.
Yeah. So let's say Tony Pollard, but just for Zeke, or Zeke and Cowboys.
What do you want from Zeke this year, stats wise, for him to be successful? What would you say it would be a successful season if Zeke did this?
If he could produce in the red zone, I would say I would like those yards per attempt better. But if he
Saying
can
his last year with the Cowboys, where he had 12 rushing touchdowns, you would be okay with that, even if it was only 876 yards on 3.8 yards per attempt.
Yeah, as long as he's not my running back one, and he's more of in the.
Well, I mean, I think he will be.
He's not that material in my opinion anymore.
Who would be the running back one at this point? Are you saying they're going to start Dowdle over him? I don't think you pay him. I know you're paying him $3 million on this contract, but you're really paying him $9 million, a little over $9 million. I don't think that's the contract of a guy who is not going to get the lion's share of carries.
Okay. Yeah, and you're probably fair. He's probably going to be the running back one. How I would do it, first, I wouldn't bring him back. But if I'm just going to say I inherit him on the roster in a deep contract. Like, he would be my power back in the red zone and get me touchdowns. Kind of what I was high on him with the Patriots because they weren't paying him a lot. Like what I thought he would be on the Patriots.
Yeah. He'll be the number one back, Kevin. I hate to break it to you. It is something that will happen. You don't pay a guy as much as they're paying him right now. And again, it's technically 3, but again, with the dead cap being 6, they are paying him 9. What I found funny is that the Dak's dead cap this year, or Dak's cap hit this year, do you know what it is?
Isn't it like 60? And
it's
then
55, yeah.
55. I know next year it's 40 for when he leaves, and we're not.
When he leaves? When he leaves?
Like, there's no way he comes back, right?
So you've given up on this next year entirely.
Dude, yeah. I don't believe it all. Like, what is there for me to believe in?
I don't, Kevin. I pump you up about the Stars, maybe a little bit about the Mavs, but the Cowboys are not my forte. I'll say that much.
Well, and I feel like I've dealt with the Cowboys the most. Like, I should believe in the Stars. I mostly believe in the Mavs because they have a top 5 player in the NBA. Like, how can you not believe in them when you have that? But I believe in the Stars too. But a lot of my distrust comes from the Cowboys every year failing, even though they should have won the Packers game, but they just didn't. They should have
terrible offensive scheme. Let's just throw the ball to CD every play and tell the defense we're doing it and see what happens.
Players don't show up. Like Dak did not play well in that game. And they don't. This may be a little bit of draft. This offseason has been terrible. Jerry said they're all in heavy quotes. Just because if you're a team that goes like that, wouldn't you make a lot of changes? I feel like you and I would be like, okay, let's go sign some people. Instead, the Cowboys do nothing.
Or let's trade some current people for draft capital.
Yeah. Or trade some draft capital if you want to go all in and get some players. Because the thing is, the Cowboys are just, Jerry wants the storyline, which Zeke does provide. And Mike McCarthy, I don't think the Cowboys will be bad in the regular season. I think they will do well in the regular season. It's just, I don't have a belief in them in the playoffs because what is there for them to do?
The better question is, who could they beat? And I trust the Packers right now more than I trust the 49ers or the Cowboys because of what the Cowboys have done recently. I trust the 49ers more than the Cowboys as well. And there's a lot of teams in the NFC. I trust the Eagles more, and they were a worse team last year than a lot of people anticipated. But we've seen them actually win. I don't know if it's a Dak problem, a Jerry Jones problem, a Mike McCarthy problem, or everybody's problem, but it seems like people have forgotten how to win games come January.
Yeah, my opinion of the Cowboys is I just don't see an it guy. Like, this guy has it. You can argue there's a player.
It's Micah. Micah has it. Micah has it. Micah has it.
How many, does he, like I can see the argument for Micah, but I'm starting to lose faith. Like Micah, I need like a guy that really shows up in the playoffs and just dominates.
I think the problem with is not really Micah, but it's the rest of the defense. Like I know the Packers consistently doubled Micah, so I can't. That's everybody else's job then to piggyback and actually take the load off of his shoulders because he's getting doubled, and it's really hard for anyone to contribute. But you are contributing by taking away 2 blockers. So I would say Micah has it. There's very few defensive players that I think has his skill set or dominance, playoffs or not.
That's fair. I can see the argument for it. I used to think Dak had it, but he doesn't. I need, and maybe Micah's getting older, so now he can be the leader in the locker room and get his team ready. Because we've seen this. Maybe it's just Dallas teams. Like some teams just don't start hot, and that's what the Dallas Cowboys just seem to roll in slow. So that's my thing, and I think McCarthy is a good coach. I don't think he's the right coach anymore for this team. So
yeah, I agree. I thought he should have been let go after this past season. But I do have one more question for you regarding Zeke to kind of wrap it all up. Do you think that this season is the last year for Zeke with the Cowboys, or do you think that? So you think that
unless
he gets
retires.
re-signed?
Yeah,
after this season.
I feel he's going to be a Cowboy for life, man. Jerry loves him. Jerry's GM.
Is it a serious answer?
No, I'm serious. I really don't think. Like, how? Like, why? How do you see what he did last year and be like, if this was any other running back, would Jerry have signed him with this type
Not
of
Jerry?
resume?
I don't know. I'm not inside of his head.
But okay. But if you see a running back, if you take the name off this thing and you give Jerry two different running backs, like who's another running back?
The history. He's banking in the history. Whether or not it was with the Cowboys or not, he at one point was the best running back in the NFL.
That's true.
Even if it was just his rookie season and maybe his second year as well. Even if that is true, he's looking at the track record, and maybe it didn't happen with the Cowboys. But there's a reason why the Patriots signed him too. And I do believe that someone else would have signed him if it wasn't the Cowboys. But I do think that the Cowboys probably offered him the best situation because I do think he'll come in and be the starter.
Yeah. And Jerry, I think it's kind of similar how Jerry looked at Tony Romo. Like he just loves Zeke and, he's the owner and he runs the team however he wants. So for better or worse, he's going to be a Cowboy for the rest. Unless he retires after this year. Then like I feel like he comes back.
Doubt he retires after this year.
And yeah, he's probably coming back, and I'm gonna, and it looks like my Deuce Vaughn. I feel like Deuce Vaughn in the right system can work. I don't think he can be the number one running back, but I think he can be nice guy on third down or in passing situations. That's my view of Deuce Vaughn. He can be a tricky weapon, but. No, Mike McCarthy, I think, is not very. He's not like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, or anyone else like that. So he's a very much matter of fact offensive guy, and that's why I think our red zone hurt. Well, except didn't our red zone get better? I don't know. It might have been. I'm not sure. So I will watch the games, and I hope the Cowboys prove me wrong. But I'm not going in all happy about the Cowboys because if the only thing that could have done it, and you mentioned it before, if they fired Mike McCarthy and brought in a different coach, I would have been like, okay, I can buy into this. I can't buy into, I don't see what is the benefit of Mike McCarthy helping you win a Super Bowl. What do you think? What would the argument be?
This isn't a very good devil's advocate for me. I don't believe that McCarthy is the answer, but he has a chance to prove us wrong.
Yes, that's why we love sports. They can prove us wrong. So I just got to see it to believe it. Like, I think Cowboys and Leafs, like, how can I keep buying in? Even though I'm not a Leafs fan, but I view Cowboys
the Leafs is even worse because the Leafs have like 4 players who are some of the most highly paid players in the league. It's not just Dak. It's
about to happen with the Cowboys. Like, CD's, like, Micah's already up there. Trevon's up there. CD is going to be up there, right?
Yeah. At least the Cowboys have won a title since 1964, is what I'll say.
True.
That.
That's true. But they have
Or
not
67. I think it's 67, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. They are, I think, one of maybe 3 teams now. I think it may be only be 2 teams now that have not been to a conference championship game, because the Lions made a conference championship game.
Yeah. The Maple Leafs did win in 64, but they also won in 67. Yeah, so their last championships in 67, while the Cowboys was 95.
Yeah,
96.
and that was
95.
fun.
96. 95 season. 95 season, but the Super Bowl was in 96.
Yeah. It was great, dude. Then it's been all downhill because Jerry and Jimmy Johnson in his book did say it was a little bit his fault, but Jerry
it was 95. It was definitely 95.
95? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 95. 96, I want to say is
Packers.
Yep.
In 97, 98 were both Broncos. But I think the Super Bowl was right. I think the Super Bowl was in 96.
Yes, would have been.
Yeah. So, yeah. But it's you're right. The Lions have now made it back.
I think it's just have the Commanders been to a championship game? It's 3 teams. Commanders, Browns, Cowboys. Have not been to
We
a
need the
championship
Texans
game.
make it.
Okay, I guess it's Texans. Okay, I guess it's 4 teams now. May have been 5.
I don't know when the Texans would have made it.
Okay.
If the Texans had beaten the Chiefs that one year, they were up 24-0. They would have made it. But
okay. So it's 4 teams. I guess it was 5. It used to be 5 teams with Detroit.
Yeah.
So, yep. But no, I hope y'all enjoy this, and we'll see what Zeke does. It's going to be great theater. I'm curious, is he going to go back to 21 or is he going to go 15?
He'll go to 21, I feel like. I don't think he can change that.
I kind of want him to go to 15 because, money. That's all that Jerry cares about. So, I'll toss this over to you because I think I've done enough negativity for this episode on the Cowboys. But we'll see. We will cover it, and go Cowboys.
Yeah, like Kevin said, we'll cover it no matter what, no matter how good or how bad the Cowboys play. And please catch you in the next video.